For breaking news, go to iDiskiTimes.co.za.
iDiskiTV, powered by World Sports Betting, iDiskiTimes.co.za. It's Kaizer Chiefs 1, Marumo Gallants 1. Umdlalo webhetho Premiership, FNB Stadium. Marumo Gallants, I can't lose any big game this season. That's really big games. And 20, kla level, yeah, we know most. Marumo Gallants, they have their teams like TS Galaxy, with all due respect. But when they faced big teams this season, they've collected 5 points from 3 games. Drew against Sundowns, drew namhlanje against Chiefs. They've beaten Orlando Pirates 2-1. So, i-team lebonakalisayo ukuthi iyakwazi uplana against these so-called big teams, and i-players zabo zabonakalisa ukuthi azinavalo ziyakwazi ukuya ondaba ethetha ndlela baqhelele udlala against big teams. So iye izibonakalise even kwezi games ukuthi okay bakhona, but into bendibukela nawo umdlalo futhi ndikubulise kwesibini but sesigoduka ngoku.
Yeah, no, athi strip esiphule.
Aw madoda.
Hayi namhlanje ngi-strip kuphela. Yazi ngisenza ni-steak. Ndo ngiyasenza kanti steak namhlanje. Yeah. Happy Heritage Day to the South African football fraternity. Happy Heritage Day to each and every South African. I think this is a special day for us. I didn't say that in the initial video. I think it's important for me to pass that through. It was a holiday today, but what's important is what's important is to maybe let's start by speaking about the two structures. Kaizer Chiefs plays with a 3-5-2. Marumo Gallants plays with a 4-4-2 and a diamond. They're not using a striker but as a false 9. In that 4, Papethu Nhlapo, and Nhlapo offers them 2 options, Shane, in that system. He offers them a defensive option without the ball. Because remember, Nhlapo was a former right back. So he does have defensive qualities. Every time about Petty Paula, because they know that in football, not like me to sacrifice a con. He drops and becomes a dead center back. Sometimes he becomes a right back. We are swiper. And then they play with 2 number 10s. Bapethu Stolle, underrated language, very good on the ball. I judge sometimes coaches based on the midfield they choose. Because the midfield they choose tells you about the game model and how the team wants to play. Usiema yesterday was not interested in playing in midfield. You could see with the type of midfield that he chose. Mawuzodlala ngoMphambaniso, uzodlala ngoSithole. Hayi baba wami, ayishoda Shane ayi. Yawuza ngithini?
Mphambaniso.
Baba wam ayishelela njengekhasa lebanana leyangwenya, very comfortable on the ball.
Wow, what a midfielder.
Shane, mina ngizokutshela something ile nto bengisho notso. In development football bagcwela boshoti, but we don't see them at the highest level of football. For me to be uTsovilakazi indaba ethetha dlondlo yena uMphambaniso.
Sure.
Shane, to break through and be a professional player is not easy.
Yazi Lindo,
especially embizeni.
Uzaqhubekeka. Yazi enye into bendiyijonga ndihleke. There were moments where ibhola ibidlala emoyeni bebengathi Mthethwa is taller than me abesiya, and there was a moment where uNdlondlo uye wajamba and he won the ball, which tells you ukuthi la confidence banayo.
Shane, they've got unbelievable football intelligence. They've got 2 things because they know that they have to counter for something that they don't have, which is physicality. But what they have is they've got unbelievable reading of the game, and technically they are very good. You need to master basics Mawile player. Because Mawile player, you need to understand how to move the ball quicker, you need to interpret space. For me, unbelievable football player in terms of understanding what the team needs for him, especially from a Marumo Gallants player. I love the boy odlala winger enomsenda. Mina ngiyalthanda winger el receiver sometimes with a strong foot, the close control with speed.
Caught offside so many times.
But
Umsenda Mindamazi is such a quality player. The first time he was playing for joining Galaxy. So he's elevated to lapha PSL, but namhlanje babona ukuthi bengcama umfana. He wanted something, but he was just getting those offside calls.
Shane, credit to Uskosana Emuva, but also credit to Mpho Chabatsani. Oh my God, Nkumbuzo Nasemento, what a left center back. Kuna le phasa ishaya first half le keep umsendane 1v1 straight to the goalkeeper. Sometimes it's about scouting, it's about seeing them. Mina ngihlezi ngisho ngithi it doesn't take me 2 minutes to see a football player. Lantwana ngeke last Marumo Gallants. What a football. What a football. In this country, I think in the last 2 years season, we've produced some of the best left center backs in the world. Ukhuluma ngabo Mbogazi, ukhuluma ngabo the one uLentuzu. Usesane, even though he's right-footed. You are speaking about Udutli Lowe Kaizer Chiefs. I think is incredible as well. I don't know who I'm forgetting in terms of them popping up at the top of my head. Oh, Nkulumane Ndamase as well, TS Galaxy. We've seen so many of them that are really, I think he's one of them. He is one of them. What a football player in terms of technically very good. I think he did his job from winning aerial balls, second ball, first ball, reading the game. Some of the best centre backs, I always emphasize, are the ones that can read the game. Washington Arubi, incredible ngalela penalty layer. Arubi sometimes is one goalkeeper who's got the potential, who's got the talent. I think Momcheka from a tactical perspective, handling, technical, I mean to say, handling, positioning, passing game yake. He looks like he can be a goalkeeper or Dalagu pick 3. But I believe that with these little mistakes, sometimes our ends game in, it overshadows some of the good things that he has. You understand, Shane? Just took school man Kaizer Chiefs ganqani bona badlala nge 3-5-2. And in a 3-5-2, Shane, the perfect system to play against a 3 at the back is actually a diamond, or rather a 3 in terms of front line. Because where are the spaces? The spaces are out wide. Why are they out wide? Udlala 1v1. If Umako no refloss like they are late, it's always a 3v3 situation, which gives your wingers, your number 10, your right winger an opportunity to play on a 1v1 option. And that's why Bobabo and Namtlanje, they did not look dangerous in the game, but they were finding spaces where they could hurt the Kaizer Chiefs. You're speaking about Augustin Serino, in my opinion, he's the best player. I've been emphasizing this. One of the best players in terms of quality in this league that we have, in terms of decision making.
Should have scored, Namtlanje. Besides the penalty, should have scored. There was a chance second half, early second half, I think, the first 2 minutes of the second half, you should have scored there.
Kuna manyama player Shane Mina, in my opinion, unbelievable, and they should never ever be on the bench and our keep. Based on the quality sometimes that they have. Augustin Serino is one of those players at Kaizer Chiefs, where for me, if you want to build a team, you build a team around Augustin Serino. Creativity, scores goals. Yes, today he missed a penalty, but anyone can miss a penalty. Pelatinang as judge, I'm a player only just by the negative things that they do. We can also sometimes identify the good things. And we are born from Uklalema Pogotueni, him wanting to create opportunities for Kaizer Chiefs. You're speaking about Ukanyisa Mayo. I mean, the only thing I have for Ukanyisa is, I spoke about him when he came here, and I said he walks into the Kaizer Chiefs lineup. In my opinion, he's a left footer, a striker, is very good on the ball as well. I think that in the second half, a driver corner in the ball, and I said I like that. But the one thing I want to improve from him is that it's in season, my boy. You don't need to overload. The only thing that he needs to do is that 5-meter sprint, 10-meter sprint. Sometimes as a winger, as a striker, sometimes to get an advantage of your opponent, you need that short burst. And that's sometimes what I need from Mabasa. And that's what Ikram has. And that's what they need. And I'm speaking about strikers who are clinical finishers here. I'm speaking about strikers that when you speak about them, the first thing is they score goals. And that's the feeling I'm getting from Umayo, is maybe from a technical perspective, stature, understanding pressure, understanding expectation. Maybe those are things that he has to challenge going into the season. But the feeling I'm getting when I'm watching the boy is that the boy scores. And for me, the one thing that I would advise him in his game is, from a conditioning perspective, those little short bursts will help him to get an advantage. And that's why we believed good to Pries when he came to Kaizer Chiefs, because he's got that. Sometimes you receive the ball 1v1 with the defense. Well, you go around him, he can finish the boy. And then now you're speaking about the midfield that they are playing with. For me, now maybe people must teach me football. Maybe there's things that I don't understand in football. What is Mthethwa helping Kaizer Chiefs with? Or maybe let me phrase it like this. Mthethwa uisiza ngani Kaizer Chiefs to win. I want people to make me understand, because if you are a deep playing playmaker, he's not maybe one, because they differentiate these. Modern football has made us understand certain players have limitations. So what they do is they tell you about the profile. In a profile of a player, he's an anchor of a 6. So an anchor is one who's a destroyer in simple terms. So what is his role? Because for me, on the ball, I was expecting, okay, Ghana into the third center backs, because maybe we can eliminate you to say, okay, we don't want to play you in traffic, or we don't want to play you behind the midfield or in front of the press. So what do? We allow the fullbacks to go. Maybe he can help Kaizer Chiefs by receiving there in that space where he's alone. There's no pressure. He doesn't do that as well. Out of position, he's always late. He makes sometimes unnecessary fouls. Sometimes Magal Pete e trafficking. If he's not playing a negative pass, Shane, o pass umuntu. So for me, this needs to be studied, how Stevie Parker got the best out of this guy. How this guy was a national team football player.
I was going there. I was going there. Ukuthi iStellenbosch siyenze njani right yona. Into le angayifumani kahle, leningezeki kahle kwiKaizer Chiefs, because as usitsho, iStellenbosch, he used to be in Bafana Bafana.
International player.
Yes, but now at Kaizer Chiefs, akakabi Bafana Bafana ever since he played for Kaizer Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken. I was tend to be corrected. But where do you think Mhlawumbe improve a team? They need to give him a new position. They need to structure a team kwindlela angazubana more pressure esibawuchilo anga receive ibhola kwindawo ene traffic a receive ibhola kwindawo yazi ukuthi okay now ndiyazi ukuthi I can pass mhlawumbe umdu I can pass maybe mhlawumbe usirius
Yeah.
on the other side mhlawumbe do you think mhlawumbe into efuneka yenziwe iKaizer Chiefs in order to get the best out of him?
Shane, he's got the responsibility of feeding his family. So for me, my advice, because it's part of my job, my advice would be go back to Stellenbosch. You are playing your best football at Stellenbosch. Uchunya bayithatha kancane lento ayikhulumayo sometimes. That certain players need to stay at that club. I am telling you now, Shane, if Ashley Dupreez goes back to Stellenbosch with the team that they have, Stellenbosch khona manje, with him then about Devin Titus,
It's net.
he scores 10 goals.
It's net.
Sometimes certain clubs, and I make this an example, ngale ntwana lesuka ku Bayern Munich iza ku PSG, Desire Mr. Nkebuyangisiza ngale gama no. Desire Doué. He did not shine at Bayern Munich. Nobody cared for him. He goes to PSG, he works under a coach that understands him, and the boy shines. Sometimes there's certain players that are at the wrong club. You understand? And for me, Mthethwa, that's why I'm saying I need people to understand me, make me understand how he makes Kaizer Chiefs a team that wants to win. Because for me, he's I don't want to. I need to really understand his role at the club.
So sifune isignal
Yeah.
kujusta ukuthi okay masivale but andifuna uyivala saka ngesete there were subs ezenzeke namhlanje
Yeah.
from both teams by the way. Kela Vutso Ekhala, there were subs Kamsendami for Marumo Gallants.
Yeah.
There was also who's this guy wearing number 10? Just forgot his name.
Mpambaniso.
Mpambaniso,
Yeah.
yes. On the other side of Kaizer Chiefs, Umayo, Gaston Serino. Subs, I feel they shouldn't have happened. A bit earlier. When I sub, especially as Serino,
Yeah.
no Kanyis.
I thought, those were the best two creative players for Kaizer Chiefs. And that's why, I always emphasize, one quality as a football coach that I respect in coaches is just sit and watch the game. The game has answers. So tells people all the time this. Read the game. That's the best quality you can have. You've done your job, Shane, during the week, my brother. You've had match day -5 until match day -1. You had time to prepare, even warm up. Sit and watch and analyze the game. Understand what you need. Sometimes the game, and for me, you can't. Keep Gaston. Umayo for me, you keep him there.
58 minutes.
58 minutes. They're going to tell you about the game over the weekend. How many days do they have to rest? I've seen big clubs play Wednesday, Saturday. So even those players probably wanted to play. Serino doesn't even play. He always comes in second half. I'm sure he wanted to play more and he came in terms of creativity. Kaizer Chiefs were leading in that period of the game. The same thing happens with the coach, Alexander Latif, who keep Mpambaniso. Because if Mangacheka, there was a period where we were watching the game, the gents were saying it's unwatchable anymore. Before Marumo Gallants scored. The game lacked something, the feel. People started checking their phones. And when people start doing that, then mental is about switch off a game in. And that's not the Kaizer Chiefs is a big football club. They need to keep us glued on our screen. So for me, the coaches, in terms of the tactical decision to make those subs, I will always say, Shane, Aba coach the game.
Lindo, thank you so much for your analysis, my brother. FNB Stadium, Kaizer Chiefs, it had a 1 point against Marumo Gallants. It's a very tight game, games between the Kaizer Chiefs and Marumo Gallants, because in the last 5 games, Kaizer Chiefs have won 2, Marumo Gallants won 1, 2 were drawn. So Mutalawa was 6, meaning that they've drawn 3 games. Chiefs winning 2, Marumo winning 1. So it games up. So it was tight affairs because the biggest scoreline fixture was Kaizer Chiefs winning 2-1. So it has always been 1-0, 1-1, 1-0, 1-1. So the fixture now go on the higher score.
Yeah.
But namhlanje kwenzeke lolo hlobo idla ukwenza ngalo history between these two teams. It's Marumo Gallants 1, Kaizer Chiefs 1. Thank you so much for watching iDiskiTV.
Shapunjan bafowethu igama lami Lindo Pep, the best analyst in the country. Please don't forget to subscribe to iDiskiTV. Tanko.
This is Bongane Benedict Villagazi, they call me so. Niazi Bafetu, I'm a coach for life. They are back in winning ways. Please, subscribe to iDiskiTV.